Welcome to the Comic Con forecast. Here's your place to find out information about upcoming comic book industry events, hosted by Mr. Anderson. For all of the amazing conventions and actual events from the comic book industry listed on this show, go to comicadvocates.com for more details. It's time for the Comics Con forecast. We are in week 7, February 14th to the 20th. Ed Davies heads to SD Rocket Con in San Diego, California on the 19th and the 20th. Jonathan Hedrick, who is part of Backer Paws right now, is heading to Emerald City Comics in St. Petersburg, Florida. That's at Emerald City Comics on the 19th. Check out him and other creators. Shout out to another comic book store, the Comic Cult HD. Ed Davies is a huge fan, and he says they stock many indie books. Let's head over to our advocating affiliate convention scene, and we'll go to their site this week. Wanted to give you a look of it and tell you that on the 18th through the 20th, Pensacon's happening in Pensacola, Florida. On the 18th through the 20th, Chattanooga, Tennessee is going to have Con Nougat. On the 19th in North Miami Beach, Beyond Comic Con. On the 20th in South Bend, Indiana, will be the EP Comic Book Convention. Go to comicbookadvocates.com to find the forecast. This is Backer Paws on TikTok. Let's see what's now crowdfunding. Admiral Hero versus Team CatDad, an important fight over heroicism. You can find that at CatDadSuperMom.com. Discover West by Martha. Primal number 7. It's a comic book. Creamier, Island of Dreams. Mosaval. Thunder issue 3. Shimmering Basin number 2. Finally live, there's an Alien in My Toilet is now crowdfunding. We've been talking about this one for weeks. Curtis Thomas's Legacy of the View number 4 and a Boots spinoff is now crowdfunding. Jonathan Hedrick presents Caffeinated Hearts. Did you hear that? It's Echoes of Triumphs 0 through 2 on Kickstarter. Coming soon to crowdfunding. Salvation. Roundhouse. You All Suck. Demon Bitch. The Elements. The Burden of Truth. Blood and Fire, a Samurai Tale. Immortal Error, 1 through 6. Go to BackerPaws.com. Welcome to Backer Paws, where creators bravely put up their projects to be judged by others to see if their title, their description, their image, and their video can get through the experience of Backer Paws. What is Backer Paws? Backer Paws is when you suddenly find a reason that you might not pause or you've lost interest in a project. So join us as these campaigns are put through the ringer of the Backer Paws jury and judges. Tune in and tell us if you experience Backer Paws in the comments. Brought to you by comicbookadvocates.com, where the love of comics comes first, and hosted by Mr. Anderson, the comics writer who creates stories that travel the realms of fetish monsters and more, and the more is ever expanding. Warning and disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this live feed are those of the guests, speakers, and or hosts, and do not necessarily reflect the beliefs, official policies, ethics, or positions of the content providers, advertisers, additional hosts, and or guests, hosting sites, groups, or entities attached to this programming. Viewer discretion is advised. Rahil today, if you know anything about me, you know how important Rahil has been to me because he's behind the art of CatDad and SuperMom. We're going to get into meeting him. This is a different Backer Paws, like I promised. Once a month, we're going to try to shake it up, do a bigger interview with the creator, take a behind the paws look at it, or do something informational. This week, no Kickstarters are ending. We had a moment, so we're going to take a half an hour and talk to Rahil. We're breaking up the show today into 2 parts. He's going to talk about CatDad and SuperMom, and we'll talk about how he got to be part of it. But first, we're going to do an interview that's going to wind up on the airwaves as I have rejoined Geek Radio America to do a radio program. And for 10 minutes, I want to get to know Rahil because he'll be able to be exposed to an audience, which I hate this dyslexic thing, an audience I can never get my fingers to work right. An audience that is American, and for those who don't know, Rahil is coming from
India.
What part of India, though?
Bangalore, India. South India.
I can't say that word, so that's why I won't even bother. Like I'll
I
get.
mean, it's not really tough. It's just Bangalore.
Bangalore. Okay, I could probably get. Like looking at it though, with my dyslexia. With my dyslexia, I have no idea how to say that word. But so yeah, right now, just for those watching and listening, we're gonna start the radio program thing. Excerpt that'll be. It's gonna be 10 minutes, so we're gonna time it right. And I'm just gonna talk to Rahil. Then we'll come back out. I'll just tell you a quick couple things about backer pause, and then we're going to go into the final bit, which will be me and him just talking about CatDad. Both 10-minute segments are going to be recorded for the radio. And with that being said, this is once I say mark, we're literally going to mark that as the time to begin, and I'm literally syncing it up to be at 2 minutes, so it's easier for me to tell when it is. So here we go, mark. And welcome back. I am with Rahil. And if you don't know who Rahil is, that means you're missing out. I'm going to let him explain where you can find his work and what he's worked on. And I'm really excited to have him on the comicbookadvocates.com on Geek Radio America show with me today. Rahil, go ahead. Take over.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show, Rob. So yeah, just an introduction. Rahil Mohsin is my name. I make comic books. I've been working on this for over 11 years now. Born and raised in Bangalore, India, and my first projects were a couple of graphic novels that I illustrated for a studio in Bangalore, and moved on to collaborating with different writers from different parts of the world. I have an anthology. I have 4 one-shots printed and published. And I'm also working with Scout Comics right now. So, thanks to Rob, I got into Scout Comics because of CatDad and SuperMom. And now I'm just like making comics for, I guess like for the rest of my life.
And that's got to be a good feeling. I know when I first met you, for those who don't know, Rahil came to me and was like, hey, I'd like to work with you. And we talked about what he wanted to work on. And he picked CatDad and SuperMom, and away we went. And I'm always proud to hear that someone I'm working with is getting more notoriety and getting out there. For those who don't know, he's a unique artist where he can change his style at will. And I got to give you a lot of credit. I know on the radio you guys can't see it, but on our screen right now during the interview, because this was recorded in the middle of backer pause, we're seeing some of the amazing art. How do you switch styles? Like, is that something that's easy for you, or do you have to kind of remind yourself and look back at the style you're doing if you take a break?
Drawing is not easy, let alone like trying to find a new language and art style. It's just really difficult. But I guess like it's the story that's more important to me, and I try to get the art style as close to the story as possible. I mean, the visual treatment is more important for me, so it's okay for me to keep changing art styles that way. And yeah, sometimes there are styles that come very easy to me because of probably the comic strips that I've read while I was a kid, and a part of those styles like I kind of adapt from. And yeah, I mean, it's quite an interesting process, but it also helps me to, one of the reasons why I keep changing my art style is because I either get inspired by a new graphic novel or a comic that I come across online, and it's just like an excuse for me to buy new stuff in the name of research, and then I try to I'm lucky enough to show it on my work.
Now, many people might not realize this, but you also letter your own artwork. So while you're doing the artwork, you have the unique ability to see lettering in a different way than most artists do, because you know how to letter a book. So you understand spacing. Have you ever gotten an opportunity to have someone else letter your work? And if so, how did that work for you?
I did have a few stories illustrated. I mean, the ones that I had illustrated were lettered by a person. Mostly there was a writer named Eddie Headington, who used to, I mean, the late Eddie Headington. He he used to letter the projects, and I mean, it's always been a great process, like working with different people, and you know, I mean, as an artist, I can just contribute to probably just like one aspect of it in a better way, and then uh, the end product is kind of like what the writer wants to see. And if there are a lot of people working on a project, like the output is completely different, and most of the time it really works as well.
Now, one of the things I do want to ask you, and you work with a bunch of different creators, and I watched obviously your journey for the last couple of years, and I loved when you worked on The Big Sheep. That was one of my favorite things that you've put out.
Oh yeah, that was one of my first independent projects too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
that's a
was
special
really
one.
good. If you guys can get it on the radio, go out and get it. It's worth it, worth the read. And you come up with all these different ideas. How do you feel like you got to this point? Like for other creators who are international, because you work with stop me if I'm wrong, a lot of American writers, right?
Yeah, yeah, I do.
How did you get to that point? Like, what do you think was the moment where you got noticed by even writers like me? I'm when you first contacted me, I was I still think I was in New York when we first spoke.
Oh,
And I
I
live
thought
in,
you were always in Florida, but yeah.
no,
Oh, that's good to know.
when we
Okay.
started talking, I was literally in the middle of moving, and
Oh.
that was the process. So I think that was it. You get old, you forget things, but you've definitely reached out to this side of the content. What would you suggest to other creators who are international and how to meet American writers?
I think the time when I started interacting with different writers online, um, Facebook and other social media platforms weren't as saturated as they are right now. So, I mean, I do see that a lot of people are on Discord to try and collaborate with different writers. I think that's the way to go. But earlier on, it was just Facebook for me. And after I had illustrated some 3 graphic novels, I for a studio, I just decided that it's high time I kind of like try different visual treatments and art styles. So I started putting up my portfolio in different places on Facebook. We have a lot of groups that are dedicated to independent creators, or even connecting them to them with them. So I guess that's where I met my first collaborator, Andre Matios. He's a terrific writer. He's a screenwriter from Lisbon, Portugal, and he happened to see one of my works and he really liked it, and then we connected, and that's how the Big Sheep came out. And once Big Sheep came out, I started posting more job opportunity video requests, where I basically put myself out there as an artist who's willing to convert their a writer's script to a comic. And I was lucky enough; a lot of people managed to see them, and I did stay employed for quite some time. Uh, and yeah, these collaborations kind of like helped me with my own self-confidence, and I took the next step and started printing these books out, and yeah, just testing the markets out. And yeah, and it was through these interactions, I think that's how I got in touch with you, Rob. And I remember the first commission that we had was for 2 pages, and now that 2 pages has turned into 2 issues. So
And
it's
it'll
quite an
keep,
amazing journey.
yeah, and it'll keep going. We're going to talk about that in the next segment, but we're down to 2 minutes. So one of the things I want to talk about, first off, if you want to find Rahil, it's Rahil, last name Mohsin, Mohsin. He's on Google. Literally Google his name. Now, quickly, as we're running out of time, I just want to acknowledge you're pretty big in your country. You get a lot of press. Is that overwhelming to feel like, wow, they really see me? People get it.
Oh man, I would be lying if I say no, but I think I'm just blessed to be a part of this country of lots of people and get noticed for the kind of work I do. It sure is quite encouraging for me. And
And
yeah, platforms like Comic Con India, and independent comic festivals like Gazy and Indie Comics Fest have kind of like really like pushed me forward in my journey. And without their help, I don't think I would have like even reached where I think I would have in the next 10 years or 15 years. I don't know.
I think you're doing a fantastic job. You're on different projects now. I'm sure more people are going to want to work with you, and that'll only benefit them. Go on Instagram, look up this young man's name. Be sure to follow him and see what's next. Speaking of what's next on the show, we have some more stuff coming up in between. But when we come back, I'm going to be talking to Rahil about his journey in the CatDad and SuperMom universe. So don't go far, everybody. We're going to be right back. And make sure to go to CatDadandSuperMom.com and see his art. It's all over the page. Literally, that's his art in CatDad and SuperMom. All right, guys. We'll be back in a minute. And now, enjoy this part of your programming. All right, there we go.
Awesome.
So that gives him the 10 minutes that he needed. So, yeah, I mean, definitely, for those who don't know, Rahil's gotten a lot of press, like in India, and I've always been able to see it, and he's always shared with me. I'm very proud of him for everything he's accomplished. Because one of the great things about you fellow creators is that you watch them grow as they get to a point. And I've seen. I can't wait for you to come out with your own stuff again. I think that you've got stories that you want to tell. I think one day you'll write and have an entire story because. I've seen how creative you are behind the scenes when we're doing things and we collaborate because and Rahil knows this, when we work together, I ask opinions. I'm not just the writer. I just don't act like the boss in the room. We all give ideas. Even before, one of the things we do beforehand is we have meetings right before we start the book. How does everyone feel about this story? What are we thinking? I remember and we'll save this for the next interview. As a matter of fact, let's start it now. Hey everyone, welcome back. This is going to be a segment about CatDad and SuperMom's artist, Rahil. And we were talking in between the scenes about creating our main character. Do you want to talk about in the second book who the new main character is, who our protagonist is?
Oh yeah. I mean, apart from Jax and CatDad.
Yeah, the new.
I mean, yeah, this character, Admiral Hero. I mean, I really didn't know how to design this guy. It was so difficult. And I think this was the longest time that I took to finish a book. Like this was during 2020, right? Mm-hmm. When I had started working, and we weren't able to find this kind of negative character who also like embodies something that is like all these positive things, but then again like he has his own shortcomings as a hero. And coming up with the character of Admiral Hero has been like the toughest challenge in my life. I remember Chuck, Rob and I used to like just sit and keep discussing of what kind of a uniform the character is going to wear, and his body, his body shape, his structure, and his overall personality. And then there's just this one time when I made a sketch and Rob came with the suggestion of the character from Boys, the main character. Oh my god, like I think that was when I found out about the show, and then I watched it and I got the character's personality and the mannerisms right. But yeah, I mean, I don't think Admiral Hero was supposed to be a bad guy, right? It was just a manifestation of Jax's sort of approach towards the actor, and not Admiral Hero, right?
Yeah, there's, and we've talked about this, especially in America. I don't know if this goes down in India, but there are kids who will meet their heroes. Like this person is larger than life, and we sometimes forget an actor's a human being. They're not the character. And like sometimes the adult, they've had a long day at a con. They might not realize how they're acting when they're walking out. And in this story, Jax runs into like Admiral Hero because he's on the road with his dad. They're selling the CatDad and SuperMom comic. And he runs into this actor, not the real character, but to a kid, sometimes there's a really hard disconnect between someone who's an actor and the actual character. And when he runs into him, the guy's just like an arrogant, just go away kid. I don't have time for you. And imagine how crippling that could be to a kid who idolizes someone, and he was like, come back and tomorrow you can pay me to see me. And we wanted to kind of capture that. But we, like Rahil's talking about, we wanted to show that this character was really meaningful. So we actually did something interesting. We talked about the creative process within a comic book and gave you a little bit of a look behind the scenes. And how is that to write something that was very interesting? Because we are literally creating something that is now meta of what we're doing behind the scenes and showing the world.
Well, there's this one thing I wanted to ask you, Rob.
Yeah.
Was the story by any chance like inspired by real events?
You know what? To be honest, they're not. I've only heard stories. I've never had a negative interaction with. Believe it or not, I've been really lucky. Not have met a bad thing, but you hear stories, and I've heard on the road about kids meeting the actors and the actors not being great. So while it wasn't a personal story that came to me, just seeing kids get upset because when they're with their parents, and for anyone who's been to a Comic-Con, they're grueling at times, especially if you have a kid with you. A kid wants everything. They have the give me's. I want it. They're begging you for things like, oh, please. I get the sad puppy dog eyes from Jax all the time when we're on the road. But you put your kid out there, and then there's one person, like I've seen in reverse. I've seen like people be a little rude to Jax because he's autistic in public. And I know how that made him interact and how it made him feel because of his autism. So I've seen him affected by it. So there are moments in the book that I think come from a real place. And I think that it's a real thing. So, and I think that's what's unique about this story in itself is that we capture real moments that, and with your art, the way that it comes across, I've had people tell me, like, when they explain it to their kids, the art is so good, there's not a lot of explanation needed for a kid. So that's kudos to you really getting the story and sitting around and asking and going back and forth and always trying to, and I know that this is true for you, it's always putting out the best product.
Yeah. And I'm quite happy that, I got to collaborate with you to really get something out there. And, kudos to your patience, because this, as I mentioned earlier, this particular issue took a really long time. I would normally finish an issue in 6 months, but this took a little longer than that. But I think I'm quite happy with the kind of output, because this is something that I really wanted to see, and it wouldn't have happened if you hadn't been able to give me that time to, really find the particular language of the characters and the story and even the color palette and everything. Like every aspect of the comic right now is what it is only because of your patience and your faith in me. So thanks so much, Rob.
Oh, you're welcome. I have nothing but faith in you. Your storytelling is amazing, and sometimes you step back to put out the best product and you don't rush anything out. I mean, we should have kickstarted it. We ran into some snags in August, so other things delayed it, but end result, this book's going to come out there. I already have kids who are clamoring for it, and adults too. Your art style has really got, and this is a more unique art style to you. The first issue, it had feelings of like the Fairly Godparents, and I heard that a lot. But this you really came out on your own. You came up with your own style, and it feels like it belongs in the universe. You didn't change enough where it feels jarring, but you brought your own like uniqueness to it. Like even there's this one panel where, and I think I have it in here where we're scrolling. Let me go up. It's that one panel. There it is, where you got CatDad on the trike.
Oh yeah.
You got the whole team in action, and that was just beautiful. That right there is a T-shirt. Just that by itself could easily be a T-shirt for kids. I want action figures. The minute I see the trike, I'm like, oh, that should be an action figure for a kid to play with. And you really help to unlock children's imaginations.
Oh, yeah.
And I can tell you, dude, we in America, we have sold out of every printing we have done to this point. We only have a few things that I held in reserve for this Kickstarter. Everything else has been sold. Every
Wow,
time we do a printing, it is sold out. So
that's
CatDad
awesome.
is about to go on to its 5th printing, believe it or not. This is a book that people love. We've also donated to hospitals for
Oh,
sick children. So we have a um, Golisano Children's Hospital down here in Fort Myers, and we've donated copies to it. So your art has made sick children happier during Christmas. So that
oh man, that's awesome. That's
that
really
was,
awesome to hear.
and we talked about that really early on. That this was
Yeah.
something that I wanted to give to hospitals. I wanted kids to see this. We've talked in Rahil knows this, and outside of the radio program, we'll talk a little bit more about it. Some other fun things. I just don't want to put it on the radio because I don't want anyone saying that we're doing something against rules for radio, because radio is a little different. But there are characters where actors were assigning to characters right now on social media and having fun with it, that you can see by going to Rahil's Instagram. But one of the things I did want to mention is that one of the bigger goals we have now, and I told this to Rahil and he was excited, I want to see CatDad on the Macy's Day Parade. And that's like a huge point. That's my Babe Ruth moment where I'm pointing for the home run. So
Oh,
I want to see
it
Rahil.
looks like it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It really looks like it's gonna happen.
You've seen people get excited. I know you've reached out to me and be like,
Yeah.
in India, people love this book. So that's cool that we've actually had marketing. It's gone as far as Estonia. I think we sent a copy to at one point. So it's getting
Whoa.
across the world. It's like got a global to it. So it's on Kickstarter right now. Go to catdadandsupermom.com. Check out Rahil, Rahil Mohsin, Mohsin, and Google him, and you'll see the amazing work he's doing. We're going to be back in just a few minutes with your actual crowdfunding report and the Comic Cons coming to your neighborhood. And now this. All right, so we're done with the segments. Now we don't have to worry about the radio. I can pull them out. But yeah, you came up with this the other day, and I can't play the music, so I'm gonna have to be very careful with this because we'll get in trouble if we play the music. But tell everyone what you told me the other day, and I can't unthink this. The minute you said it, it's been in my head.
Oh man, like there was this when I had COVID, I was just like, I didn't have anything else to do. I was on bed and I needed to spend the time. And then I came across this show called Peacemaker. And oh gosh, like the fancy, the big ass helmet and the huge biceps and everything just reminded me so much of Admiral Hero. And John Cena has actually done some voiceover work for animated movies, and I think that if by any chance John Cena happens to get commissioned for this, I'd really want him to voice over Admiral Hero, or let alone if there's a live action adaptation. I think John Cena would be the perfect person to play the role.
I couldn't unsee it. Like the minute you said it, I was like, oh my God, yes. As a matter of fact, when I'm done with this video, I'm going to go watch the season finale. I think it's on today. I think it's Wednesday that they upload new shows. If it's not, I'm going to be very upset because I've been looking forward to it. But you did a great job on this. So let's ask the other casting questions. So here you go. Who would you have do Supermom?
Oh man, that's a tough one. But I think no. I think Scarlett Johansson. I've heard that she hasn't worked on she's done with Black Widow, right? So I think she's up for more projects.
That's an interesting one. I go Angelina Jolie.
Ooh, oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I see that.
So CatDad, I always for some reason thought Kevin Conroy, if it's a voiceover. Because not only can he do that deep Batman voice, but he's also got this other gear where he does very. If you ever watch Batman, when they have those really heartfelt moments, he can change his voice, even for live action.
He even has that physicality, right?
Yeah,
he does look like him. Yeah.
Yeah. So Elefart, I would just love to see James Gunn come up with a way to show Elefart on the screen. I mean, teaching morals with farts that actually can take shape. Imagine what he would do, because you had mentioned James Gunn. I was like, yeah,
Oh
he would
yeah,
get it.
you get it. Yeah.
Yeah, because the way he brought Suicide Squad to life, oh my God, I was in.
We should actually try sending him an issue.
I'm up for it. I'm happy.
Actually, we can send both of them.
That's right. Just send it to him. What's the worst thing he's going to do? Not open it? But just imagine that, like, to be able to work with James Gunn, because this is one of those things that I do think's got a Hollywood future. Like, when you create something, and I know I told you this, we had a conversation about this, and I'm sure you felt the same way. The first time it was all put together, it looked different. It felt different. It felt like this came from Marvel and DC. Like that book printed, and of course you got to do an international version of the book.
First of its kind.
First of its kind. We printed on both continents. And you told me it was a good seller there. This speaks to people. This really does. And
it does.
Yeah, and
a lot of people do get back in touch with me on Instagram, like the people I've met at Comic-Con and whatever events that have happened across India. Like there are people who get back in touch with me on Instagram asking me for details for the second issue and if there are going to be more issues out. And yeah, I mean,
you can tell them. All right, so we're running out of time. I'm going to spend the last couple minutes on you. But before we go, I got to ask, this is my pick for Potato Butt. I know it's going to sound weird, but stay with me. The Rock. The Rock.
Yeah, for once he's not going to get to show his muscles.
Yeah,
he's going to be in a big potato sack. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, you do like the deep fake where we make him look like a small guy.
Yeah.
Especially if he's voicing it over, because for those who don't know, Potato Butt's kind of our comic relief. In this issue, we don't do a lot of comic relief, but we keep it interesting because we're showing that in this one, Jax is hurt, and that shows in that. And I think you did a beautiful job of that one moment, and you'll know what I'm talking about when CatDad is pointing and going, them, that's them. And that you see some of it sort of here, and we give an homage to them throwing away their costumes and all that. So I think you did a wonderful job. But before I let you go, we're going to talk about what's coming up next for Rahil.
I'm currently working on a Scout Comics project called Misfits Clubhouse. Apart from that, I'm working on a couple more strips, some political strips, and just working on this one little series that I've been planning for quite some time called Fromp. So my hands are pretty full this year, and hopefully the next year and the year after that.
Well, I know at one point we're going to be talking about the third issue of CatDad and SuperMom, because that third issue will get us to a trade, which is something that I'm sure Scout wants. And, the hardest thing is always picking the next story, because I know we all felt the pressure of it. The first book was so good. The second one had to match it, and now we've done it. The third book's going to be even, because trilogies are the hardest. That third one is always the one, but we'll get together. We'll get it done. You can all back it at catdadandsupermom.com.
Oh, yeah. Please do.
And before you go, we're going to actually show. Have you seen the videos for this?
For CatDad and SuperMom?
Yeah. Have you watched?
Yeah, I have.
No, the newest one, I mean. I have a brand new one. In the last one.
No.
This is brand new. You get to see it for the first time ever. Let me know what you think on the other end. Welcome back to CatDad and SuperMom, and this time we start off at a Comic-Con where Jax meets his hero, Admiral Hero. But the problem is that an actor is portraying them on TV, and that portrayal does not ring true in the real world. And Jax is let down by the actor and makes him feel like he's ruined the very character of Admiral Hero. In the dream world, Jax deals with these consequences and finds out what it takes to be a hero. But in the real world, Jax gets a rare opportunity to see the behind the scenes of the creation of the character itself. So we give you a full story that we think the entire family will enjoy, or any comic book reader. This entire series is meant to help with literacy for children, so definitely consider getting this book to add to your collection to help your child fall in love with reading. And remember that we still have the first issue available that taught morals with farts. Thank you for checking this video out. Make sure to check out the campaign for full details.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love the background score and everything that you said.
Thank you. I appreciate you taking time to hang out with me today. Don't go far because I want to talk to you just quickly off screen. Thank everyone for tuning in. Next week, we'll have a regular back applause. We had the ability to do this week because no campaigns were ending this week. So I got to really just hang out with Rahil, and it's been a while since we got to do an interview with him. And I wanted to make sure that we introduced him to the radio audience. There'll be more about my radio show coming up in the next couple of days. Thank you all for tuning in, and go check out this young man's, I'm going to get my finger to work the right way, this young man's Instagram, because I personally I don't do a lot on Instagram. He's one of the reasons I'm on Instagram. I'll go just check what he's doing because I'm always inspired by him. Thank you for being on.
Thanks for having me over, Rob.
Anytime. Go to backerpause.com for more information. We're out of here. See you next week to see what causes a pause. Welcome back to CatDad and SuperMom, and this time we start off at a Comic-Con where Jax meets his hero, Admiral Hero. So that's my son Jackson. He's an amazing kid, but he has autism. Early on, when the symptoms started to show themselves, one of the things I noticed about him, and this moment captured it perfectly and inspired me to write comic books about him and really want to write children's books, was the imagination that he had. This inspired everything behind CatDad and SuperMom. All the stories I've written, all the stories I'm going to write, it all comes back to this moment when he was playing at a convention and he was just having fun, and he'd really tapped into it. He was very much in the moment. With autism, sometimes it's hard to bring a child out of that shell. And so I created a comic book hoping to reach him, because at this point he would just rip up comic books, and I wanted him to really experience the written word and all that it could bring. So I created a comic book about him, and I showed him the process. And sure enough, when that first comic book was printed, it changed him. It changed how he looked at books, and I'm always going to think that was a turning moment. Him coming out of his shell and him really enjoying not only the written word, but exploring his imagination. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video and encourage you to go to CatDad and SuperMom and check out this campaign.
Hey, it's me, Specs Thompson, back again with another Kickstarter for Legacy of the View. This is the 4th issue and final issue of the story arc, but this time I brought a little extra with me. On this Kickstarter, I will have my spin-off series, Boots, the Girl with Robot Boots, which is a manga that incorporates voodoo, mechas, shinobis, and an awesome story that follows Kitara, aka the Boots, who is Chaz's classmate you met back in issue 3. For this Kickstarter, I'm also changing things up. Not only is this campaign for the 4th issue of The View, but you will also get the first 4 chapters of Boots as well. The issues will release quarterly until we get to chapter 5. Starting with chapter 2, each backer will get the chapter every 3 months via email or through the mail, depending on the reward they choose. Who is Legacy of You for? People who enjoy the first 3 issues, as well as fans of music, anime, and martial arts, with a little sprinkle of comedy in there as well. In short, the story of View is about a reluctant hero named Chaz who is trying to balance the life of school and studio life at the same time. On top of that, being the View, George's only hope to defeat the How. Now, who is Boots for? Boots is for people who enjoy Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Bleach, A Comic Got Killed, and other anime like that. Boots has a dark tone with some comedic slice-of-life elements in it as well. Boots follows a Haitian-Japanese orphan who is forced to start from the bottom as a common street kid to the top corporate thugs for hire in her own huge empire. Not sure about the Boots? Well, and just at the bottom down here, I have a link to the first chapter. You can view it yourself, tell me what you think. If you like it, click collect reward, and catch the next 4 issues. So, and all in all, I want everybody to help me out, get my spin-off series on and popping, tell this awesome story that I believe never been told before, as well let me complete the Legacy of You story arc, and make some changes up, and I don't think Chaz gonna like it, but we'll see. Again, it's Specs Thompson. This is the Kickstarter for Legacy of You, issue 4, as well as the first 4 issues of Boots. I'm out.
Hi, I'm Izzy. Welcome to my island. Chimera is a place where anything is possible. You could be like half bird and half human. You can also make up people from your own mind, just by thinking about them. There are 4 people who came to my play. There was Ashante. She was the really smart one, but super stiff. Then there's her brother, Freddie, who's a lot more fun, but is totally obsessed with Captain Galaxy. Harry is the track star, and is super athletic, and Colin is adventurous, but kind of arrogant, yeah? I'm calling out to the extreme team. This is Freddie, Captain Galaxy's biggest fan. We've been stuck trapped on an island named Chimera, and I'm guessing Izzy has mind-altering starfish sucking our brains out, like in my favorite issue of Captain Galaxy. All I know is that we're trapped here, and we need your help. The only way to get back home is to beat Izzy in 4 different challenges. In this part of the story, I get to be Captain Galaxy, and it's amazing! Ashante, Colin, Harriet, and I become the extreme team, and we have to fight Izzy and her team of fatties. Harriet has to run a race as a Jaguar, and we have to help her cross through some pretty tough obstacles as well. Hi everyone, it's Izzy again. I just want to say thank you to everyone that helped me keep Ashante, Harriet, Colin, and Freddie on the island forever. It's not over yet, Izzy. Freddie, you're not supposed to be here. I turned everyone into robots and gave you a logic problem. No way, Ashante is way too smart for you. You can turn us into anything you want and we'll still win. Well, you don't know what I have in store for Colin. Colin's our friend. He would never do anything to hurt us. We'll see. You're just gonna have to pledge the Kickstarter to find out. We'll see you and Chimera.
Get your copy of Comic Book School's 8-page challenge, Panel 1, and believe it or not, Panel 2. Both are free by going to comicbookschool.com. And now for the original Cat Dad video. In the beginning, there were farts that hopefully taught some moral lessons about bullying. And now Team Cat Dad is back. And this time, we're trying to figure out what makes a hero. A story that examines popularity versus heroics while teaching children how real people can inspire heroic tales. The entire creative team is back for this powerful second tale of heroics, and we do have the usual rewards and such. Truly amazing covers, including a limited edition coloring book cover for the first time. But if you're a fan of CatDad and SuperMom, you know it's about more than rewards. It's about the creator's autistic son Jax and his love for him and the stories he hopes inspires and guides him and hopefully the readers of these tales. It is about the human moments and the ability to entertain and bring the entire family together that matters to us, and a reminder of the power of imagination. I want to thank you for watching this video and hope you take a moment to look over the campaign for CatDad and SuperMom, What Makes a Hero. And remember, we rise together through kindness. Please go to CatDadandSuperMom.com for more information about this campaign. The power of a single dollar. One single dollar can help make dreams come true. Every dollar is a declaration of support and belief. It helps the creators and the teams behind the book. Just $1 helps create new worlds and keeps creators creating.
Freaks and Gods Volume 2, Number 1 is a great place to jump on board with Atom, Steve Steff, and Bargeist. They find themselves in a cartoon universe battling the cannibal planet alongside Danger Tours. What's Danger Tours? It's a poorly run adventure touring company that never seems to get things right. Thanks so much for checking out this Kickstarter and supporting the book.
There you go. I felt personality in you.
I have a little bit. My grandmother always referred to my comics as coloring books. I just didn't want to correct her. It was just rude to correct her. It's like, how are your coloring books coming along, dear? Oh, they're great, Grandma. I don't know if it's right or not. That's just how I do it.
Hey, I'm Samuel, and this is Duty, and this is Duty too. They're both duties. Anyway, I'm the creator of There's an Alien in My Toilet, an all-ages slapstick humor comedy series that everyone in the family can have fun with. I created the series back in 2005, received a lot of attention, did about 5 issues, and then I had to leave comics for a while. After 10 years, I decided that Duty and I, we had some unfinished business. So basically, he is tasked with coming to Earth on a secret mission. He's this egocentric, thinks he knows it all alien, and he believes he's the only one capable of this mission. Right? He's so smart, and yet he forgets to refuel, and he crash lands on Earth, and that's where the adventure begins. Duty also encourages education and learning. So if you're a parent or a teacher and you're trying to get the kids inspired to learn and you want to introduce them to something fun, well, every issue of There's an Alien in My Toilet has 4 pages of trivia, word puzzles, and activities that does just that. Not only that, this campaign, we have a limited edition latex doll, a plush doll, we have 6-inch 3D printed figures, we have trading cards and a coloring book and a guidebook, and the story. The story with a lot of heart. We have 6 covers by me, by Marcia Gempro, by George Medina. A lot of heart went into this, a lot of passion, and I hope it translates. And if you're here, you're watching this, that means you're curious enough to want to give it a shot. So if you want to laugh and you want to be a kid again and you want to just join us, pledge today. And as a special incentive for you, if you pledge today and you post on social media that you pledged, and you use hashtag I'm a Dudester and you tag Catch the Craze, then you will receive an official I Am a Dudester sticker. I appreciate you. I'm going to leave you with this animation of Duty as he first gets to Earth. Have a great day. Goodbye.
Remember to be kind and share.
Coffee, a wonderful elixir consumed every day around the world. This beverage has blended many lives over countless ages.
Good morning.
From simple origins to complex concoctions. Its magical powers are limited only to the amount poured. Now step inside Let the sweet aroma of freshly ground beans submerge your senses. Have a seat at your favorite table. Your barista will be right with you.
Remember that there are problems getting supplies to actually get you your Kickstarter rewards, including, believe it or not, paper. Paper is in shortage right now. So don't get angry at your actual campaign's organizer, the person running it, because they really might be up against it. And they're trying their best. And always remember,
comics are awesome.
That they are. And you should always be a pair in the comic book industry. Be a pair. Be professional. Be ethical. Be authentic. Be respectful. Remember, in this industry for comics, be a pair. Art provided by Chris Mad. Look up Chris Mad Art on Facebook today. We want to thank everyone for joining us for the show today. It's been a pleasure bringing it to you. We're going to go back over everything that has been shown to you today on the show. So check it out. This is Backer Paws on TikTok. Let's see what's now crowdfunding. Admiral Hero versus Team CatDad, an important fight over heroicism. You can find that at CatDadSuperMom.com. Discover West by Martha. Primal number 7. It's a comic book. Creamier. Island of Dream. Mosaval. Thunder issue 3. Shimmering Basin number 2. Finally live. There's an Alien in My Toilet is now crowdfunding. We've been talking about this one for weeks. Curtis Thomas's Legacy of the View number 4 and a Boot spinoff is now crowdfunding. Jonathan Hedrick presents Caffeinated Hearts. Did you hear that? It's Echoes of Triumphs 0 through 2 on Kickstarter. Coming soon to crowdfunding. Salvation. Roundhouse. You All Suck. Demon Bitch. The Elements. The Burden of Truth. Blood and Fire, a Samurai Tale. Immortal Error. 1 through 6. Go to BackerPaws.com. It's time for the Comics Con forecast. We are in week 7, February 14th to the 20th. Ed Davies heads to SD Rocket Con in San Diego, California on the 19th and the 20th. Jonathan Hedrick, who is part of Backer Paws right now, is heading to Emerald City Comics in St. Petersburg, Florida. That's at Emerald City Comics on the 19th. Check out him and other creators. Shout out to another comic book store, the Comic Cult HD. Ed Davies is a huge fan, and he says they stock many indie books. Let's head over to our advocating affiliate convention scene, and we'll go to their site this week. Wanted to give you a look of it and tell you that on the 18th through the 20th, Pensacon's happening in Pensacola, Florida. On the 18th through the 20th, Chattanooga, Tennessee is going to have Con Nougat. On the 19th in North Miami Beach, Beyond Comic-Con. On the 20th in South Bend, Indiana, will be the EP Comic Book Convention. Go to comicbookadvocates.com to find the forecast. I have the power! I have the power! Welcome to the Comics Newswire, covering all the things turning pages and heads in the comic book industry. Mr. Anderson is the unboxable advocating creator known as the Indie Comics Devil, who will tempt you with his devilish tales of fetish, monsters, and more. He is the giver of free hugs and spanks, and he is a partner in Continuum Comics. Check out everything Anderson at chainlinks.site. Mr. Anderson is also known now as the creator of Desires, Monsters, and More comics. Go to MrAnderson.com for more information. We'll be back next week with a regular show for all you fans of crowdfunding. If you want to be part of it, if you want a creator spotlight, If you just want to stay in the know and get to subscribe to the site, go to comicbooketiquettes.com right now. If you have a special request like us covering your campaign, you could either go through our Facebook group, go to Comics News Wire on Facebook right now. It's in the group section. It comes up pretty easily. Or if you want to send us an email to have a longer conversation and interact with us and maybe get interviewed, send us an email to comicsnewswire@yahoo.com. We'll see you next week to go over more crowdfunding campaigns and see when someone who's our judge or judges experience